The normal Saturday afternoon programming will not be seen today due to a Channel 9 News special, the Big Red Machine Reunion Baseball Game.
The proud sponsors who help make the Big Red Machine Reunion possible are Premium Travel Services, a national travel company, WEBN, the lunatic fringe of American FM, Lens Crafters, custom-crafted eyeglasses in about an hour, Oscar Mayer, a family tradition, and Kraft 100% natural cheese.
And welcome to the Channel 9 Big Red Machine Reunion Game. What we've done this weekend is assemble as many members of the World Championship 1975 and 1976 Cincinnati Reds teams as we could. Put them back in uniform and put them on the same field together one more time. Players like Johnny Bench and George Foster and Dan Dreesen, the list goes on and on. But John Popovich, this weekend is so much more than an old-timers game.
Yeah, absolutely so. What we wanted to make this feel like more was a class reunion. Let these guys catch up with what they've been doing, and a chance for Cincinnati to get another look at the team that symbolized the spirit of this great city. The players came from as far away as Venezuela, the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic. They all started arriving yesterday, returning here to the Queen City. The first event was held last night, a private reception just for the team. As you looked around the room, you had to be touched by all the smiles you saw. You could tell that these people did more than just work together. They developed a bond. They talked about what they've been doing for the past 15 years and their excitement over the weekend.
And, John, all that excitement begins right now. You can see players, well, there's the fans in the stands, but the players are in the dugout getting ready to begin this game. We'll talk with some of them a little later. And our own Joe Webb will be in the Reds dugout to give us live updates throughout the game.
TJ, this is truly a big day for the city of Blue Ash, and you could just feel the excitement building all during the week. The City Recreation Department has been working hard to get this beautiful facility ready for the game. Groundsmen have been trimming and manicuring to get everything just right for the players. And while the field was being groomed, Cook's Sporting Goods was hard at work, making authentic uniforms for all the members of the machine. We had the exact replicas of their mid-70s uniforms made. We wanted everything to be perfect for you folks watching at home, listening on WEBN radio, or the lucky 6,000 or so who could join us out here. And all last week, fans packed the locations where you could apply for tickets. We had over 10,000 entries, and this week, all the lucky winners were notified. Some of those people are packing the stands now. That's where our Randy Little is. Randy?
Hi, John. We're standing here on the west side of the fields, or actually the side where the third base is in the stands here. And the fans here are absolutely excited about this game. In fact, many of them have traveled hundreds of miles to get here. We're going to go over here and talk to some of them right now. And when I mean hundreds of miles, I really mean hundreds of miles. These gentlemen, believe it or not, have come all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, and we're going to talk to David Yunt. And why come all the way from Omaha, Nebraska for this?
Well, I've waited for a long time to see this game. I was hoping it was going to happen sometime.
How did you flew in and or drove here or what?
We drove here. We left yesterday afternoon from Creighton about 3 o'clock and got to Omaha about 7 last night and drove all the way through till this morning. About a 12-hour drive from Omaha.
So what does this kind of a game mean to you?
Oh, a lot. Like I said, I've been a Reds fan since I was about knee-high to a grasshopper, I guess. So this is what I've been waiting for.
Great. Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks, David. Back to you, John and DJ.
Thank you very much. And joining us now is one of the, actually the first member of this Big Red Machine team. What promises to be a long line to go into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Johnny Bench. Look at all these folks who came out to recreate this and relive it one more time.
I'm just disappointed there's not more room for people, because I know there's a lot of friends of mine that called at the last second. Is there any tickets, any tickets? And I guess they've been waiting in line, and people drove from Omaha to come down here to see this, and it really is exciting. The most enjoyable thing that I've seen is seeing the players.
Yeah, how long has it been since you've seen some of these guys?
Well, for some of them, like Raleigh, he disappeared on me, and it's been about 10 or 12 years. I ran into his wife on an airplane. She's a flight attendant, and of course, Zach I talk to every now and then, but it's all Darcy and Tucson during the baseball bunch, and Armbrister and Geronimo, they float through every now and then, but it's really good to see them, and they lost a couple of guys along the way. They couldn't find them, and then we couldn't find Pedro either.
That's right. Thank you, Johnny Bench. Have fun today. Appreciate it. Well, John, we put together a team of celebrities rivalries that we hope will be fun for these guys to play against. People like Basketball Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson and former Bengals Reggie Williams, Turk Schonert, Robert Jackson. UC head basketball coach Bob Huggins is going to be joining us. And Carol Williams is standing by live over by the celebrity dugout. Carol, how you like the looks of this team?
But it's not because they've missed any meals. There are a few extra pounds here and there on some of the guys.
That's raw muscle.
Hang on, Eddie. We're gonna show a little tape of you guys practicing. The boys started practicing a little bit earlier this week. They came out to Blue Ash, tried to sharpen up some of those rusty skills, but now they're ready for the big time and the Big Red Machine. So, Eddie, how ready are you?
Carol, I told you earlier, I just came out here to spit in public.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to that. What position are you going to play?
I'm going to be in the outfield. I'm not sure which one yet. Like I told you, I'm going to lean back against the fence because these guys are going to be shelling them.
That's right. And you better watch out because the Wild Man told me he's going to go out and interview you while you're playing.
I can handle it. I can do the media thing. I can go out there and knit some socks for you while I'm out there. It's no problem. I'm a multimedia, multi-talented ball player. I'm going to be rocketing them. Did you just see the natural?
I did. Oh, we're going to have lights and everything.
Where he blew the scoreboard up? First inning.
You do look a lot like Robert Redford.
I get that all the time.
I know. Thanks a lot, Eddie. We'll talk to you later. Back to you, John and Denny.
Thanks, Carol. And you know, I have to break the news to you and Eddie. That team over there doesn't stand much of a chance. You know, the Big Red Machine was really the dominant baseball team of the 1970s and one of the most praised baseball teams of all time. Names like Morgan and Bench and Rose and Griffey. It was just a team that was destined for greatness.
Should be all over.
It's probably a baseball argument that will never be answered. But every time it comes up, the Big Red Machine is right in the middle. The argument is over the best team of all time. Was it the Reds? How about the 27 Yanks? Maybe the Oakland team of the early 70s? Or perhaps even a team of today?
We're talking about Oakland as compared to the Reds, and I said, I don't care. Let them compare who they want, but at least when they compare any team, they start comparing with us. That makes it mean that much more.
The Reds, you see, have become the standard for quality.
That team will be, I don't think that team will be forgotten very soon.
Unforgettable in how they played the game and what they accomplished. Just look at the record. 6 division titles, 4 league titles, 2 World Series titles, all in the span of 10 years.
You know you go to the park and you know you're going to have a good game. You know you're going to win.
They felt that way even though they were once tagged as a team that couldn't win the big one. They couldn't seem to put away a title in the early 70s. That was one monkey they had to shake. Another was themselves. This became a team top-heavy with superstars.
There was a lot of egos. You had Joe Morgan and Pete and Johnny and Tony Perez.
Which often means trouble in the clubhouse, dissension.
The one strong point that we had and we always had was that we had a lot of unselfish players.
And it seemed like one player would help another, like when Joe Morgan was added to the machine in 1972. He was joining such established stars as Rose, Bench, and Perez.
Rose and all those guys, they played at this level. That made me have to play at that level as well.
Perhaps it worked because this was an era before outrageous salaries changed all of pro sports. Or maybe it worked because the guys just wanted it to work.
The guys knew how to play baseball. They wanted to play baseball, and they went out there and played hard.
We really liked each other, and we really liked playing baseball, and we were really good at it.
You bet they were. Can you imagine that on the 1976 team, they had 5 batters that hit better than 300? That same season, they hit 31 more home runs than the next best team. And speed, how about 210 stolen bases? Best in the National League. They had solid, if unspectacular, starters, a resourceful bullpen that served every need, and a manager who seemed to keep it all together and everyone happy. It got tagged with that nickname, the Machine. It worked so well together, so efficiently, the name stuck. And this weekend, they'll relive their time in the sun, the struggles, the heroics, the celebrations. The stories will be plentiful, and the stories will be accurate.
You know, when you look back on it, we didn't really have to make ourselves sound a lot better than we were because we were great.
They don't have a thing to prove this weekend. They proved it all in the 70s.
We still have plenty more to come. When we come back, we'll have the introduction of the players by a familiar voice from the past, and shortly after that, the start of the Big Red Machine Reunion baseball game. You stay with us.
Everybody got a soft spot.
Pineapple.
Got a very, very soft spot.
Strawberry.
Even spice is so nice.
Chive and onion.
in soft Philly flavors.
Oh, cream and cheese.
Where you gonna put your soft spot?
In a potato.
What are you gonna do?
Strawberry? On a bagel.
Where you gonna put your soft spot?
Urban garlic? Pasta. But that's us.
How about you?
Everybody got a soft spot for soft Philly flavors.
Chris Sabo for Lens Crafters.
When I need glasses, I need top quality. And I need them fast.
Like millions of other eyeglass wearers, Chris Sabo relies on Lens Crafters in-store labs to custom craft his top quality glasses in about an hour.
I gotta have good eyesight, so I always depend on Lens Crafters for good glasses fast, on and off the field.
Depend on Lens Crafters for custom crafted eyeglasses in about an hour.
Oh, no! A foul ball right into the backyard of old lady Van Lemden. But on that day, much to our surprise, she'd made us some Oscar Mayer bologna sandwiches. Matt Canzano had 3, and so did the grub.
Come on, come on.
Needless to say, the bologna sandwiches were a hit.
Quality beef as good as ever. Remember when your bologna had a first name?
We're back here in Blue Ash at Crosley Field where the Big Red Machine reunion is just moments away. But John Popovich, this game wouldn't be complete without one crowning touch.
Absolutely, and that one finishing touch is that of Mr. Paul Summercamp, better known as the voice of the Reds. Anyone who remembers the Big Red Machine certainly remembers Paul. He was the field announcer from 1952 through 1985, total of 34 years. Now he joins us to remember that era as he introduces the machine and our celebrity players. Paul?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Crosley Field. First, the members of your 1975-76 World Champion Big Red Machine. Let's start with the infield. Number 5, the catcher, Johnny Bench. A Hall of Famer who has been called perhaps the greatest catcher ever to play the game. In 1976, he hit 2 home runs in Game 4, led the Reds to a series sweep of the Yankees. From Binger, Oklahoma, now living here in Cincinnati, Johnny Bench. At first base, number 24, Tony Perez. Manager Sparky Anderson says Perez was the glue that held the Big Red Machine together. He collected more than 379 career home runs, more than 1,600 runs batted in. He now coaches first base for the Reds, Tony Perez. Number 13, at shortstop, Dave Concepcion. His range, his speed, and strong arm won him Gold Glove honors. That, combined with his consistent hitting, made him the premier shortstop of the 70s. Now living in Caracas, Venezuela, Dave Concepcion. Also in the infield, number 22, Dan Dreesen. Sparky Anderson said Dreesen was one of the best young players he ever saw. In the 1976 World Series, Dreesen batted .357 as the National League's first ever designated hitter. Living in Cincinnati, Dan Dreesen. Finishing up the infield, a special late arrival, number 23, Doug Flynn. Flynn joined the Reds in 1975, just in time to help win the 2 World Series. Now living in Lexington, Kentucky, Doug Flynn. In the outfield, number 15, George Foster. He was one of the most feared hitters of the 70s. In 1976, he hit .429 in the World Series, was voted the Player of the Year in Sporting News. Now living in Greenwich, Connecticut, George Foster. Number 20, in center field, Gold Glove winner Cesar Geronimo. In the 75 World Series, he hit 2 home runs, and in 76, he had his best year at the plate, hitting .307. Now living in the Dominican Republic, Cesar Geronimo. Rounding out one of the greatest outfields ever, number 33, Ed Armbrister. The scene is the 3rd game of the 75 World Series. 10th inning, Geronimo on first. Armbrister bunts. The catcher bumps into him, picks up the ball, throws it into center field. The umpire says that Ed did not interfere with the catcher. The runner advances and later scores the winning run. From Nassau in the Bahamas, Ed Armbrister. Now the pitching staff from the Big Red Machine. Number 43, Jack Billingham. He was one of the most consistent winners on the Big Red Machine. In his 25 World Series innings, he gave up just one earned run for an ERA of .035. From Orlando, Florida, Jack Billingham. Number 44, Pat Dorsey. 1975 was his rookie year with the Reds. He became the 4th starter in the Big Red rotation. That year he started 20 games, won 11, giving up only 4 home runs in the regular season. From Tucson, Arizona, Pat Dorsey. Number 49, Raleigh Eastwick. He was the premier relief pitcher in the National League during the Reds championship years. Eastwick led the league in saves in 75, his rookie year, and again in 76 when he was voted the relief pitcher of the year. Now living in Amesbury, Massachusetts, Raleigh Eastwick. Number 32, Fred Norman. In his 16 years of pitching, Norman saved the best for last. In 75, he led the team in strikeouts. And in 76, at age 34, he was 12-7. Sparky called Norman the best pitcher in the National League. Now living in Cincinnati, Fred Norman. Number 40, Pat Zachary. He came to the Big Red Machine as a rookie in 76, was Rookie of the Year by the end of the season. That year, he led the team with a 14-7 record, 143 strikeouts. From Waco, Texas, Pat Zachary. Also playing today, number 61, Gary Waits. Waits was the bullpen catcher for the Big Red Machine during their championship years. He now lives in Williamsburg, Ohio, Gary Waits. We'd also like now to introduce a man well known to longtime Reds fans, former General Manager Bob Howsam. Howsam was one of the key architects of the Big Red Machine, also engineered the team's move into Riverfront Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Howsam. Next, the man who directed the Big Red Machine's potent base-stealing attack. He helped coach the Reds for a number of years and became third base coach in 76 when the Reds swept the World Series. From Charlotte, North Carolina, George Sugar. A native of Lakewood, Ohio, this man directed the Reds' powerful pitching. In 1976, his pitching staff was the first in National League history to have 7 double-figure winners. Now living in Lincoln, Nebraska, Larry Shepard. For almost 20 years, he's been the man that takes care of the Reds' injuries. A graduate of Ohio University, the Reds trainer, Larry Starr. Finally, this man started with the Reds organization in 1947 as a clubhouse boy, and 43 years later, he's still with the Reds. Equipment manager and a Cincinnati native, Bernie Stowe. Ladies and gentlemen, the world champion Cincinnati Reds. And now the lineup for the celebrity team bravely taking the field against the Big Red Machine. First up, basketball sensation and former guard for the Cincinnati Royals and the Milwaukee Bucks, the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Next up, another basketball star in his own right. From 1984 to 1988, this star guard led the offense for the Xavier Musketeers. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Larkin. Representing the Queen City's football talent, 14-year linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals and now Cincinnati City Councilman Reggie Williams. This man is entering his second season as the mover and shaper of the UC Bearcats basketball program. University of Cincinnati coach Bob Huggins. President of one of the sponsors that helped make this reunion possible, LensCrafter Chief Dave Brown. Trading goal lines from baselines this afternoon, former Bengals quarterback Turk Schonert. Also making the move from the jungle is Schonert's former teammate and Bengal safety Robert Jackson. Representing WEBN and known to fans as a prominent member of the Dawn Patrol, radio personality Eddie Fingers. Also from WEBN, Greg O'Neill. He's the winner of the Big Red Machine contest on the station. Suiting up for game sponsor Oscar Mayer is sales manager Mark DeYoung. A reporter who has spent years making the Reds' success his business, Inquirer sports writer John Arardi. Up at bat for Premium Travel, another important sponsor, Andy MacWilliams. Also on the field for Premium Travel and Delta Airlines, Doug Nilsson. Keeping an eye on the skies as well as the ball this afternoon, Channel 9 weatherman Bob Allen. Taking the field for Kraft, another firm credited with this Big Red reunion, District Sales Manager for Ed Prefling. Proving he knows baseball as well as hoops, Withrow basketball coach George Jackson. A man keeping up a Cincinnati tradition that may be as well loved as the Reds, Montgomery Inn co-owner Tom Gregory. And finally, the man coaching this fine team himself, a Reds baseball veteran, the old left-hander, sports announcer Joe Nuxall.
Thank you, Paul Summercamp. Hearing you introduce the Reds brings back a lot of memories to longtime Reds fans. And when we come back, the national anthem, the first pitch, and a very special surprise. Stay right where you are.
It's Sabo at the plate. Oh, and he really takes a bite out of that one. Sabo takes first and hits for second, and he gobbles up second. But it looks like he'll have to hold up there. You never know what the wily Sabo will do in these situations. Looks like he'll try to steal third. Oh, and he's thrown out by Sabo.
Okay, hot dog, you're out of here.
All right, I'm going.
Cover all the bases. Slide home with plenty of delicious Oscar Mayer regular, bun length, and the new light hot dogs. Oscar Mayer quality meats are a hit every time.
You know, little buddy, I just can't get over how helpful those Kroger folks are. The meat cutter went out of his way to fix my steaks perfectly.
Kroger saves you money, too. If you can't find something, hey, somebody's always right there to help you.
I wish I could be more like those Kroger people.
I wish you could be more like those Kroger people.
Everybody got a soft spot.
Pineapple.
Got a very, very soft spot.
Strawberry.
Even spice is so nice.
Chive and onion.
In soft Philly flavors.
Oh, cream and cheese.
Where you gonna put your soft spot?
In a potato.
What are you gonna do?
Strawberry? On a bagel.
Where you gonna put your soft spot?
Urban garlic. Pasta.
But that's us.
How about you?
Ooh, everybody got a soft spot for soft Philly flavors.
On the field, the colors presented today by the American Legion Post 630 of Blue Ash and Kathy Wade, who will sing now our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great. Wonderful rendition of our national anthem by Kathy Wade. Throwing out the first pitch today is the First Lady of Reds Baseball, Mrs. Marge Schott. Of course, she's the current owner of the Reds, president, CEO. By the way, the Big Red Machine will be recognized tonight at the Reds-Dodgers game. There's the pitch to Hall of Famer Johnny Bench. A big hug and a kiss. Thank you, Mrs. Marge Schott. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special surprise for you and the members of the Big Red Machine. As you know, Sparky Anderson, the manager of the machine during its glory days, can't be with us today, at least in person. His current team, the Detroit Tigers, have a game tonight, so flying to Cincinnati was out of the question. So we did the next best thing. We have him on the phone here so he could say a few words to everyone. The only manager to ever win a world championship in both leagues. Ladies and gentlemen, Sparky Anderson. Sparky? Sparky, needless to say, we wish you were here.
There's a man there today that gave me my very first opportunity, and he taught me true discipline and taught me how to go about my job. And I want to say to Bob Howsam, thank you so much. It'll never be forgotten in our family. Also, Grumpy, who used to yell at the pitchers all the time and tell them how dumb they are, I missed him all these years, and I'm so happy that he's there today, Larry Shepard. And then my man, George Sugar, who was my very first manager and became such a dear friend and still is, Sugar Bear. He's the one that really directed the 9 years there because he kept me in line. And then those players, as Johnny Bench said one day, he said, keep your feet out of the aisle, don't trip none of us. He says, and we'll make you smart. And John, you were right. It's that ball club there makes you a smart person. Since I got away from there, John, I got a little dumber, but I was very lucky over here to be fortunate enough to be 12 years. But every one of those guys there, Doug Flynn's there today, Eddie Armbrister, I can see him now going through that bunt thing and the argument with this and all the things, and Tony Perez, the doggy. I never knew how valuable he was until he left us. And then I realized what a tremendous, tremendous cog he was in that whole operation. But you can never imagine, none of you, how much I appreciated each and every one of you. And that city of Cincinnati has been so fortunate that they had a man come in there, Bob Howsam, and direct that franchise for that many years and build it. And I'll never forget Bob in the final World Series in '76 against the Yankees when he said, and it has not failed, this will be the last of the great teams. And it will be the last of the great teams, and Cincinnati will have always had the greatest team of our decade. And I wish I was there today because there's so many good people there in that city, and the ball players have been unbelievable, but they've been very fortunate to play in that city because they've been treated with such high honor in that town. That city there treats baseball players the way they should be treated, and the ball players should always remember it's an honor when they play in Cincinnati. And even the ones that follow, when they look at the Hall of Famers, they look at Johnny Bench now, they look at Joe Morgan, they're going to look at Pete Rose, they're going to look at Tony Perez, they're going to look at David Conception, and when they go down that line and look at all those great players, just imagine a young kid starting out at 6 to 8 years old and starts to follow the Reds, what pleasure he has had in his career. And I know that city will always be to me what it was when I played there. It remains in my heart. I don't wear rings, and people say, why? I said, I don't need to wear the rings. It's in my heart what happens in Cincinnati. And Bob, I truly thank you, and I thank every single one of the players. And I wish I was there today.
Sparky Anderson, thank you very much. God bless you.
Well, DJ, was Sparky always had a lot of superlatives to say about the Big Red Machine, and nothing different today.
He has not run out of them. That wraps up our pregame show, the Big Red Reunion game. Coming up, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Chris Sabo for Lens Crafters.
When I need glasses, I need top quality, and I need them fast.
Like millions of other eyeglass wearers, Chris Sabo relies on Lens Crafters in-store labs to custom craft his top quality glasses in about an hour.
I gotta have good eyesight, so I always depend on Lens Crafters for good glasses fast, on and off the field.
Depend on Lens Crafters for custom crafted eyeglasses in about an hour.
There's trouble brewing at Holiday Homes between old Doc Holliday and Milford and Dan the Kid over yonder in Ridgewood, Kentucky.
I'm giving $550 cash back on every new mobile and modular home sold in Milford. Oh, yeah? Well, any Holiday home sold at Ridgewood has no payments till next year. Looks like a draw. You want to be partners?
Well, that settles it. Purchase any new mobile or modular home from Holiday Homes now and get $550. Make no payments till next year. You better hurry.
Oh, no! A foul ball right into the backyard of old lady Van Limden. But on that day, much to our surprise, she'd made us some Oscar Mayer bologna sandwiches. Matt Canzano had 3, and so did the grub.
Come on, come on.
Needless to say, the bologna sandwiches were a hit.
Quality beef as good as ever. Remember when your bologna had a first name?
back live at Crosley Field in Blue Ash for the Channel 9 Big Red Machine reunion. John, I know that actually a series that you did back in May was the genesis of all this. You were talking with any number of the players for a Where Are They Now series, and what happened?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I brought up the fact that George Foster and Johnny Bench had told us that it would be fun to get these guys back together because they had not seen most of them for about 15 years. All of a sudden, Jim Zarchin, who at that time was our assistant news director, since has become our news director, said, why don't we have a reunion? Of course, I looked at him, rolled my eyes, and look what we have here just a few months later. There you have the starting lineup for the Big Red Machine, and there's a lot of familiar names there. Leading off, Dave Concepcion, third base, Danny Dreesen to try to move him over. Johnny Bench follows in the third spot. Batting cleanup, the left fielder, George Foster. Over at first base, the big doggy. In center field, Cesar Geronimo, a Gold Glove winner. Over at second base, good glove man, Doug Flynn. In right field, Ed Armbrister will be there, and the pitcher will be Jack Billingham. As you take a look out to the mound right now, there's Pat Zachary. He's going to be out there pitching for the Celebrity All-Star, so he's going to be facing. I hope he doesn't groove any there, DJ.
Well, I have to think that maybe they put someone out there who was a little more acclimated to major league hitters than some of the. Well, we saw Bob Allen give it a try during batting practice, and frankly, Bob, thank goodness you can do weather. Don't quit your day job.
Tom Gregory out to have a few words with Zachary, like, what's one, what's two, what's three? And let's not go beyond that. As Dave Concepcion leads it off here today. I don't know if I'd want to play third base. Dan Brown from LensCrafters is down at the hot corner, and boy, if they smoke one down there, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
Especially playing left-handed.
Concepcion with a single to right center field right off the bat. Let's see if he stretches it into two. Oscar Robertson, and Concepcion can jog into second base.
And Davey leads off with a, could we call that ringing? Could be a hollow ring to it, but it was a double nevertheless. The expense of Pat Zachary.
So far, Nux hasn't got anybody warming up down in the bullpen for Zach as he gives up a hit on his first throw into Concepcion as Dan Dreesen steps in. There you see lifetime averages, 153 lifetime home runs for Danny. Straight up, coming almost right in back of us.
Behind us.
Out of play.
Onto one of the spare diamonds here at the beautiful Blue Ash Sports Complex.
It almost looked like Waveland Avenue in Chicago there, the way some of the fans went after the ball there. A lot of rabid Cincinnati fans out here today, and boy, they have a perfect day for this. 0-1 count coming on Dreesen. Concepcion leads off second. Dreesen grounds one through the hole. Concepcion coming around third base, and he'll be able to come in as Eddie Fingers picks up the ball in right field.
We have to say less than spirited pursuit of that single by Eddie Fingers in right field. And Danny Dreesen comes up with the RBI single, driving in Concepcion. It's 1-0 just like that, John.
Well, like he told Carroll, all he was really just interested in doing was spitting in public, and so maybe he's not much of a fielder. Johnny Bench standing in. The first of two Red Machiners already to be in the Hall of Fame, and he takes it low and outside for ball one.
And treating Pat Zachary to load it up, he said.
Dreesen with a short lead off first, and Bench straightaway center field. Oscar Robertson appears to be in line. He takes it with the old Willie Mays basket catch.
That's the first out of the game. You know, Johnny was out here with his wife, Laura, and this is the first time that Laura has ever seen her husband play baseball, and I guess she's finally getting a feel for why people are always asking him for his autograph in restaurants. And he brought out the baby, little Bobby, looking great.
I think there's going to be a wonderful picture on the news tonight, probably in the paper tomorrow. Bobby Bench lined up behind the plate with his dad. Zachary comes inside to Foster. Foster's hot. Tony Perez on deck as Dreesen still at first base. Zach comes lower this time. 1-1 count to George Foster. 1977, he had 52 home runs for the Big Red Machine. He was the MVP in the National League. Fouls it off Tom Gregory's glove. 1-2 count on Foster. Zachary looks in and says, what did that ball do? Did that sail a little bit?
George Foster, 50 home runs. Boy, That introduction was very apt. One of the most feared hitters ever in baseball.
2-2 count. Low 3-2. Big Red Machine gone ahead in this first inning, 1-0. Concepcion led off with a double to right center. Dreesen brought him in with a single through the hole between first and second. Zachary with a pitch. There it goes. Oh,
a two-run dingy-dongy for George Foster. So just like that, it's a 3-0 ball game. The Big Red Machine. Pat Zachary, I presume. Glad he's making another, chosen another line of work. Here comes George saying, thanks, Pat. Danny Dreesen, George Foster walking off arm in arm. Couple of hammers.
Two-run home run by George Foster. A 3-0 lead for the Big Red Machine as the big doggy Tony Perez stands in.
Into a pretty brisk win, John. Let's go down to Joe Webb on the Big Red Machine bench. Joe?
George, what's Pat Zachary's stuff like today?
Well, it's going deep right now. I think he's throwing a 3-hitter, so he's getting the ball up there pretty good. Got his 4th hit right there. But it's a fun game, just going out there and hitting the ball and nobody try to get hurt.
Okay, George, thank you very much. Go back to you, John and DJ.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Perez getting around on a Zachary pitch, puts it between third and short. The Red Machine really teeing off on Pat Zachary as Cesar Geronimo, the Chief, stands in.
Again, just one out in the top of the first inning here.
Little looper hit behind short. That'll fall in there, moving Perez on to second base. Only one out in the inning as Doug Flynn steps in. Doug Flynn now lives in Lexington, Kentucky, works for the state of Kentucky as he goes around to schools all across the state talking, having anti-drug messages, talking to school kids, talking about alcohol and drugs. It has a very positive effect on young people.
Still playing competitive softball, John.
You can see he's in wonderful shape. Flynn plays on one of the best softball teams in the country. This one's low. We have a 1-1 count on Doug Flynn. Tony Perez on second base. Cesar Geronimo on first.
Here's Nuxall out of the dugout over there. Oh, he's coming over to help us out, I believe.
I think he's changing sides already.
See, he hasn't done much over there.
2-1. Flynn, hard hit into right field, turns around Eddie Fingers and over his head. Everybody moving on the base pass. Here comes Perez around third base. Geronimo going into third, and Flynn with a stand-up double.
Eddie Fingers doing his best impersonation of an elephant trainer out in right field. There he is, Eddie, the morning man at WEBN. I think Robin could have acquitted herself out there a little better than that.
Zachary comes into Ed Armbrister, trying to keep this inning alive, only one out. And it's already 4-0 Big Red Machine, and they have runners at second and third. Armbrister line drive foul down the right field line. You can get an idea of the crowd that's here today. DJ, I was a little worried yesterday when that rainfall came. It really poured down.
Well, and then this morning it clouded over out here for a while, but it has burned off, and it is an absolutely pristine day for baseball.
Little bouncer fall by Armbrister, the count 0-2.
They can talk about the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, but the recreation and rededication of Crosley Field here has really, really turned out beautifully.
Armbrister, the 0-2 count. Oh, it's a shortstop, John Arardi, who grabs it over his head, and there are 2 outs.
Nice play by Arardi, moving off to his right at the crack of the bat and using all of his 6 feet 3 inches in height to spear that hot shot off the bat of Ed Armbrister.
Jack Billingham, very popular pitcher in the Big Red Machine days, steps in. Doug Flynn on second, Cesar Geronimo on third. Shot down to Brown at third base, and he boots it.
E5. Oh, boy, he won't live that down at the office anytime soon as Geronimo comes in with the 5th run. And we'll go back to the top of the batting order, and Dave Concepcion. This is the bat-around rule. That's the bat-around rule. I think we're making them up as we go along here, Davey. This is kind of like home bingo. We're going to impose the seldom imposed bat-around rule and call this a half an inning. And we're going to go to commercial break with the Big Red Machine leading 5-0.
Real stories from a real year-end clearance.
We saved $2,800 on our new Camry.
Save on Camry, the most trouble-free compact in America.
I saved $2,000 on my Corolla.
Save on Corolla, the most trouble-free subcompact in America. Save also on Cressida, the most trouble-free car in America. Save on every Toyota now during Toyota's year-end clearance.
I saved $1,300 on my Toyota.
It's what you waited for, Toyota's year-end clearance. Don't miss it.
Everybody got a soft spot.
Pineapple.
Got a very, very soft spot.
Strawberry.
Even spices so nice.
Chive and onion.
In soft Philly flavors.
Cream cheese.
Where you gonna put your soft spot?
In a potato.
What are you gonna do?
Strawberry? On a bagel.
Where you gonna put your soft spot?
Urban garlic. Pasta.
But that's us.
How about you?
Everybody got a soft spot for soft Philly flavors.
Medical technology costs money, but if you need tests or procedures like these, cost is the least of your worries, and that's the way it should be. At Choice Care, we think taking care of your health comes first. That's why we give you hassle-free access to comprehensive health care from a wide choice of doctors, no deductibles, and 100% coverage for hundreds of tests and procedures. Choice Care, when the last thing you need to worry about is the cost.
Still play ball, yeah? Still play ball.
Yeah. We're back at Crosley Field at the Blue Ash Sports Complex. 5-0. The Big Red Machine has taken the lead in the first half inning of play. Or 6-0 here. It's 5-0. Take our word for it.
5 runs on 7 hits. Jack Billingham on the mound for the Big Red Machine.
Going to set the defense for you. Billingham on the mound. Johnny Bench at catcher. Tony Perez at first. Doug Flynn's down at third. Concepcion at short. Dan Dreesen playing over at third base. George Foster's in left. Cesar Geronimo's familiar center field. And Ed Armbrister out in right. As Byron Larkin, B, stands in. The all-time leading scorer in the Xavier basketball team. First strike to Larkin. Here's the pitch from Billingham. He's low on that one, 1-1. Larkin on the 1-1 pitch. High fly ball. Concepcion gallops into short left, eludes Foster, and makes the catch.
Yeah, I'm sure he's used to doing Foster playing left field out there. No problem. 1 up, 1 down for the All-Stars. Here's Eddie Fingers, who made that stellar play in right field. Here we go. Davey, of course, shading his eyes, calling George off at the last minute. Said, I got it all the way. Ball 1 to Eddie Fingers.
Looks a little like Eddie Goodell up there, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
1-1. If he had a healthy cut at that one.
Morgan. Yeah. Morgan and Rose.
Jack Billingham gave the Red Machine a lot of innings as Finger takes him to the right field. Will it drop in there? No, Armbrister on the run.
So good. And Rose got so greedy.
Fingers running into left field, going after him.
Great play. Boy, Eddie Armbrister's in wonderful shape, isn't he? He just kept coming all the way on that one. That's going to bring Reggie Williams to the plate.
Finger says, I was robbed. 2 outs right off the bat for the Celebrity All-Star team.
Johnny Bench motioning to Reggie exactly where the left field is. The left field fence 328 feet distant.
Reggie used to hitting 200-pound running backs instead of just this little white ball. This one's hit high. Was there a chance for Bench? No, it'll fall out of play.
Great to see Johnny in uniform, isn't it? He looks like he could still tee it up. He probably will tee it up tomorrow, but he'll probably take a cart because he's going to be a little stiff.
0-2 count. Reggie Williams, he tries to keep this inning alive. Billingham throws, and it's strike 3 called. This umpire not being intimidated by Reggie Williams.
You know, that's it.
Ben Chazal, let's give him another shot.
Fred's got to go after here to the ballpark.
Goes for a low pitch, ground ball down to Concepcion. He hasn't lost a step. Over to Perez. That's 3 outs.
And makes it tantalizingly close.
After 1 full inning of play, 5-0, the Big Red Machine. You know, one of the people who was interested in this reunion right from the beginning is Harry Green, a Cincinnati native and the chairman of Premium Travel.